Blowouts to open the series. The last 4 Bucks Celtics games have been down to the wire. 86% of game time has been within 10 points over the last 4 games, nearly double from the first 2 games in this series. And Giannis, again, is putting up historic numbers, looking to average 35 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists in a series for the second time in his career. Just 3 other players all time have done it even once. And Jason Tatum has carried the Celtics, especially down the stretch. Tatum averaging over 9 points in the fourth quarter in this series, including 16 in Game 6. Andrew Lopez, the first of 2 reports for today.
Game 7 in Boston on Sunday will feature 2 teams who have had success on the road in this series. 4 of the 6 games have been won by the road team, including the last 3. Why is that? Boston coach Ime Udoka says it's 2 evenly matched teams. Marcus Smart said after Game 6, it's 2 juggernauts going against each other. Now, on the injury front, Robert Williams III is still questionable with left knee soreness, but as Udoka said the other day, it's because of a bone bruise in his knee, not because of the surgery he had to repair his meniscus.
Milwaukee Bucks missed a chance to close out this series at home, but they've been oddly pretty comfortable with the idea of coming into Boston and playing a Game 7. Maybe it's because they've been here before. They played the Celtics in a Game 7 in Boston in 2018 and lost, but just last year they went into Brooklyn to beat Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets on their way to the NBA Finals. These are games where guard Pat Connaughton likes to lean on one of Giannis's favorite sayings. Everybody likes to say they put in the extra work, but we're about to find out just who's actually done it.
NBA analyst Corey Alexander joining us now on SportsCenter. Corey, the 2 superstars have dominated this series. Giannis averaging over 35 a game. Jason Tatum averaging over 28 a game. What will be the key to deciding who gets to the Eastern Conference Finals today?
The key is going to be the other 3 starters. And when you think about what, Milwaukee's been able to do on their home court and even on the road, they have gotten great production from their stars, but they haven't gotten it from their starters. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown have been great, but it's really been about Al Horford, Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, the role players, and they have been the opportunities for each and every one of these teams to win and be successful, oftentimes on the other team's home court. Well, I honestly believe that the Celtics' big 3 other starters will step up big for them in this game today.
All right, before I let you go, who you got? Boston or Milwaukee?
Well, you're putting the pressure on me, Jay.
Yes,
At the beginning of this series, I thought it was going to be Milwaukee in 6. Milwaukee lost that opportunity in Game 6. They had a chance to win on their home floor. So it goes back to Giannis's quote regarding who put the work in. Well, the Celtics put the work in the final game of the regular season, going out and winning that game to get the number 2 seed. And by doing so, I think the Celtics win this series in Game 7 on their home floor simply because they put in the work to end the regular season and to get the home court advantage.
We will see if that's exactly how it plays out. Corey Alexander, thank you so much. Let's go over to Hannah.
Thanks, Jay.
Well, Jay, the Deer District in Milwaukee will not be holding one of its famous watch parties today for Game 7 because of 3 separate shootings last night that left 21 people injured in downtown Milwaukee. Now, the mayor has imposed a 2-night curfew in the area and issued a state of emergency declaration for the city. The Bucks team statement called the shootings horrific and condemned the devastating violence.
Let's dive, however, into our earlier game tonight. You called it. You said the Celtics were going to force a Game 7, and they needed Jason Tatum to do it, and that's exactly what happened.
The man stepped up. He's a young star, and he showed why tonight. He stepped up. He was absolutely spectacular. He was dancing on cats. He was taking it to the hole. He was big boying dudes that were smaller than him. He was taking taller dudes, slower dudes outside. He made 7 threes. He finished with 46 points, and Giannis had 44 and 20, and Jason Tatum still outdueled him. It was nothing short of a sensational performance, living up to all the things we suspected he is and was frustrated by when he didn't show it to us.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, the Garden is going to be rocking on Sunday, okay? And look, when it comes down to Game 7s, you're losing sleep. It's no sleep. Nobody's able to get a good night rest, ready for the moment. But I will say this. If the Bucks think it's going to be some sweet walking into that Garden, you know how rowdy it's going to be. I feel like Jaylen Brown is going to rise to the occasion. And by the way, I put the jank on the Bucks tonight.
I will say this to you. The Bucks won Game 1 in Boston. They won Game 5 in Boston. the Boston Celtics damn well had better not lose 3 games at TD Bank Garden in the same playoff series. That would be something. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Are the Celtics or Bucks winning the series?
Oh, the Boston Celtics is winning this series. The Boston Celtics is winning the Eastern Conference, and the Boston Celtics are winning the championship. But let me go back to why I say, you heard what I said. Let me go back to the point of why I say they're winning this series, okay? Jason Tatum has arrived. When you talk about superstardom, Jason Tatum is there. When you talk about one of the better two-way players in the game today, Jason Tatum is there. But I haven't seen a defense and I haven't seen Celtic pride like this since 2008. And we know what happened in 2008 when we saw a Celtic defense like this one right here. They went on to win it all. Look, the one thing that I've noticed that the Celtics realized that they could do is that they could get into the teeth of the Milwaukee defense. They could get into the paint. That they could get down in the key and actually get to the free throw line. When I look at the Celtics all across the board, Big Al Horford, who has been one of the Celtics' most consistent players all season long, even when they was going through the rough patch, his versatility, when he's out there on the floor on offensive end, being able to stretch the floor to give Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown room to work, and then Marcus Smart is out there causing havoc, guarding Drew Holiday, making things miserable for him, being the defensive player of the year that he is. And then I look at Ime Udoka, a guy that got the attention of that locker room, a coach that is not trying to be their friends, but are trying to hold them accountable. I'm watching him call timeouts and getting to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and getting on them about blown coverages. And I'm saying, you know what? This is a championship caliber team with a championship caliber coach. They're winning this series.
Well, let me interject just for one quick second before I give it to you. That last point really threw me off. I wouldn't accuse Mike Budenholzer of somebody who's trying to be friends with the players. Yes.
I didn't say that.
All right. I'm just saying. I mean, Udoka's not doing it either. But I mean,
no. I don't. I went solely with the Boston Celtics. Don't put words in my mouth. I said that I love a coach that holds his superstars accountable. That's what Ime Udoka is doing. I didn't say a word about Mike Budenholzer.
Okay. All right.
All right, here's where I'm at on this. It's a shame. I feel bad. One of these teams is going to lose this series because I think whoever wins it's going to the finals.
So why?
And so I feel to me it's razor thin between the two teams. And today I'm feeling like the tone of everything associated with this series is, oh, it's over. Bucks can't beat the Celtics. I picked the Bucks to win the series. I'm staying with the pick. Because I went back and started looking at these games, right? Game 1. The Milwaukee Bucks led the last 33 minutes of the game. Game 2, all right, got smacked. Nothing you can say about that. Game 3, all but 1 minute of the last 20 minutes of the game, the Milwaukee Bucks led. Last night, they led by 10 in the third quarter. I'm looking at this team and I'm saying, if Drew Holiday can find any rhythm at some point, and look, some people are saying, well, it's the reason he's not playing well is strictly because of the defense, and so he's not going to play well because they're going to continue to do that to him. But I also say, listen, Drew Holiday is a guy that showed up in a big way on a championship team, so there's something more there that he has in this series. He's going to interject himself offensively at some point. I also look at a guy like Bobby Portis, averaged 15 points a game on the previous 5, then the last 2, 13 total. Bobby Portis has to show up. Now, look, if those guys don't, they can't win. My faith is in the greatness of Giannis Antetokounmpo, the psychological and mental toughness, and the fact that they have been in control for large portions of 3 of these 4 games in the second half of these games. Now, Giannis got gassed last game. That can't continue to happen. But my faith is with him. I think the Celtics are a great team, too. I'm not going to be shocked no matter who wins this series. But I think that it's just weird to me that the tone, Stephen A., to me is people are starting to act like this series is over. 2-2 going back to Boston. Like, Bucks don't have a chance to win this series. I just don't get where that's coming from when you really look at the data and the fact that there's more, I think, with that Milwaukee has not shown offensively in this series than Boston. Tatum's been pretty damn good. Horford's been great. Drew Holiday has not played very well, and neither has Portis.
Well, I agree with you from the standpoint that this series isn't over, and for people to write Milwaukee off, it would be a mistake. I agree with you on that because they are more than capable of going on the road anywhere and winning as long as they got Giannis Antetokounmpo. That is just a fact, okay? Having said all of that, I got the Boston Celtics winning this series in 7 games. I'm not jumping off that ship. That was my prediction at the start of this series. It's my prediction now. All right? They split the first 4 games like I knew they would. I predict that Boston will win game 5 tonight in Boston, even though there is some trepidation now that I'm hearing about Robert Williams being injured, because I think that if he doesn't play, that's a big loss for them. And I think that puts Boston in a dicey situation. He helps you immensely. Having said all of that, I'm still going with Boston to win game 5. I believe they will lose game 6, and I believe they will come back and they will close the deal out in a game 7 in a thriller. It'll come down to the wire, but whether it's Jaylen Brown, whether it's Al Horford, whether it's Marcus Smart or Jason Tatum or somebody, they will find a way at TD Bank Garden to pull this out and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. I just believe that because I think that overall, they're gonna make shots when it counts. I'm not so sure about that with Milwaukee. Connaughton has played well. He can make shots. I expected more from Grayson Allen. He's no Middleton, but I still expected more from him. I ain't getting that from him right now. Drew Holiday is putting up numbers, but the inefficiency is flagrant. That has to improve, which I think it will, and it'll be enough for them to push this to a 7-game series, but Boston is winning this in 7 in my estimation.